We begin in Cedar Rapids, where a family is demanding answers in the arrest of their son. On Thursday, Paul Saldivar was arrested for public intoxication. He was taken to the hospital after police say he hit his head on the armrest of a squad car on his way to jail. Today, the Saldivar family spoke exclusively with CBS 2's Gabe Erickson.
And he is live in Cedar Rapids now, where earlier tonight, family and friends gathered to remember Paul. And Gabe, what's the latest?
Well, we're standing across the street from Mercy Medical Center. They held that candlelight vigil in the parking lot right across the street. And tomorrow they plan to take him off of life support. He's in such critical condition that they know, although he's a man full of life, he won't be able to truly live again. Candles mark the prayer lifted up for a brother and son.
He was a good friend of most people who know him.
Paul Saldivar has been hospitalized in critical condition for nearly a week after a run-in with police. The department says he hit his head while in the back of a squad car, but the family has questions.
3 different CAT scans show no trauma to the head. Doctors are puzzled as to his condition and why he is in the position he's in.
This all happened Thursday night when police were called to the Hazard County Saloon. The 33-year-old was arrested after patrons said he was causing problems. Police released this statement about what happened next, saying, while en route, Saldivar continued to be combative, kicking and moving about in the back seat, hitting his head on the armrest while being handcuffed. Just prior to arriving at Linn County Jail, the subject became quiet. Officers arrived at Linn County Jail and found Saldivar unresponsive. Paul's brother John and family hope an investigation underway by the Department of Criminal Investigations clears Paul's name.
We are confident that the DCI's investigation will bring light to the situation and hopefully justice for our brother.
Now Paul's family is taking him off life support. They say even in the case of a miracle, Paul would barely be able to breathe on his own.
There's nothing more the doctors can do for him. He wasn't going to have much of a life, not that he would have wanted.
Again, the family will take Paul Saldivar off of life support tomorrow. We spoke to the police department by phone today. They declined to comment until after that investigation is complete. Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabe Erickson, CBS 2 News.
Yesterday, CBS 2's Gabe Erickson spoke exclusively with the Saldivar family, and tonight he talked with Cedar Rapids police about a vital tool that was not present the night of the arrest.
These cameras could have dispelled a lot of uncertainty about Thursday night's arrest.
29 years ago when I came out of the department, would have been great to have cameras. Didn't happen then, and it's one of those things that I'll process.
Police say Paul Saldivar thrashed about in the back seat after his arrest and hit his head on the armrest. When they arrived at the jail, he was unresponsive and required CPR. There were no cameras in the squad car that picked him up.
We still hold ourselves accountable, even if we didn't have cameras.
Only a fourth of the cars on the fleet have cameras inside of them, one in front and another in the back seat, keeping an eye on anyone they arrest and recording their behavior. Without video to corroborate the police department's statements, the family has been left asking what actually happened.
At this time, we feel that there are inconsistencies with the story given by the police and what the doctors are telling us.
In a vigil Tuesday night, family and friends prayed for Paul after deciding they would take him off life support.
There's nothing more the doctors can do for him.
Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabe Erickson, CBS 2 News.
Cedar Rapids police once had cameras in all of their squad cars, but the company supplying those cameras went broke. The department is now in the process of adding more cameras all the time, but only about 2 are installed each week.
It has been 6 months now since a man mysteriously lost consciousness in the back of a Cedar Rapids squad car.
Now the state investigation into his death is complete. Police arrested Paul Saldivar in May for public intoxication. On the way to jail, he became unresponsive after officers say he hit his head. Saldivar was hospitalized and died 1 week later. CBS 2's Gabe Erickson joined us in the studio with the latest on this case.
Yeah, I spoke on the phone tonight with one of Paul's brothers. He says the Division of Criminal Investigation did tell the family that the investigation was complete. But until the county attorney reviews that report, they'll continue hoping for justice for their brother Paul. The investigation is over, but questions still remain. What happened to Paul Saldivar in a Cedar Rapids police car back in May that ultimately led to his death?
He was a good friend of most people who knew him.
Police picked up the 33-year-old at Hazard County Saloon in downtown Cedar Rapids. They say Paul kicked around in the back of the squad car, hitting his head on an armrest. That's a story Paul's family was not able to accept.
3 different CAT scans showed no trauma to the head. Doctors are puzzled as to his condition and why he is in the position he's in.
Paul was taken to Mercy Medical Center and died about a week later. DCI investigators missed out on crucial evidence because the squad cars that night didn't have video cameras. They relied on autopsy results, causing the investigation to be drawn out more than 5 months. DCI filed that report 3 to 5 weeks ago with Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden, who says it's under review. Meaning Paul's family will have to wait even longer for answers.
The truth will come out, and we'll go from there.
DCI says we could know those results of the investigation by the first of the year. In the studio, Gabe Erickson, CBS 2 News.
It's been nearly 7 months since a man mysteriously lost consciousness in the back of a Cedar Rapids squad car.
And tonight his family is still waiting for answers in his death. Cedar Rapids police arrested Paul Saldivar in May for public intoxication. On the way to the jail, he became unresponsive after officers say he hit his head on an armrest. Saldivar was taken to the hospital where he died a week later. We first told you last week a state investigation into this incident is complete. CBS 2's Gabe Erickson live now in Cedar Rapids, where not even the Saldivar family knows the results of that investigation. Gabe.
Yeah, that's right. The Lynn County Attorney will have to look that case over to determine whether he wants to press charges against any of the police officers involved that night. Until then, the Saldivar family tries to find light in a dark situation.
It's heartbreaking not to know what happened.
For Paul Saldivar's brothers and sisters,
we'd argue all the time, but I'd do anything to get it back.
33 years wasn't long enough. That's how old he was when his family pulled him off life support. Police arrested Saldivar back in May for intoxication outside Hazard County Saloon in Cedar Rapids. Police say he hit his head on an armrest in the squad car.
We want to know what happened.
A story Paul's brother Fernando and sisters Jessica and Paulette refuse to believe.
I have holes in my heart because nothing makes sense.
The Division of Criminal Investigation did file its final report to Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden about 4 weeks ago. He says it's under review. The family is already skeptical of what will happen.
It's not going to be any justice for us. It's just going to be, protect your own for the police department.
Paul, his ashes.
Paulette keeps a memorial in her home. His ashes still sit in a box. After nearly 7 months, they haven't opened it. A brushstroke stains a wall where Paul once made a mistake. Paulette can't bring herself to paint over it.
For him to die the way he did is heartbreaking.
Each day they wait, that unanswered question, what happened, drains this family's hope.
For me, it doesn't ever get better. And especially not knowing answers, it's not getting better. It just seems to get worse.
I spoke with Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden just today. He says it was a different murder trial that pushed back his consideration of that DCI report, but that it is under review. In a statement obtained by CBS 2 News for the family, Mr. Vandersanden says, quote, "The death of Paul Saldivar is a matter being taken very seriously by our office." He goes on to add that his review will be meticulous and thorough and that he will issue his own statement within the month of December. Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabe Erickson, CBS 2 News.
CBS 2's Gabe Erickson has been tracking this case since its very beginning. He joins us now live in Cedar Rapids with the latest on this. Gabe.
Cedar Rapids Police Chief Wayne German says he appreciates the work done by all the agencies involved in that investigation. This is a report sent out just this afternoon by Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden. It's 3 pages long and it outlines everything that happened that night. After 7 months with no answers, family and friends of Paul Saldivar now have one. Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden says Saldivar's death was accidental and will not press charges against Cedar Rapids police officers involved that night. Police arrested Saldivar back in May for public intoxication outside Hazard County Saloon in Cedar Rapids. Police have said all along he hit his head on an armrest in the squad car. Vandersanden's report adds that what ultimately killed Saldivar was positional asphyxia. That's when a person's posture doesn't allow for proper breathing. The state medical examiner found Saldivar was very drunk, with a .299 blood alcohol content level, nearly 4 times the legal limit. The report says the excessive alcohol slowed down his breathing, which was already a problem because of his posture.
I do not believe this was an accident. I do not.
Paul's family still doesn't believe the story. They say it doesn't line up with what doctors told them about his injuries the week before he was taken off life support.
You do not get picked up for public intox and end up dead in the back seat of a police car.
Even more frustrating for them, after all this time, Paul's brothers and sisters' cry for justice has not been answered.
It's just heartbreaking to know that my brother's gone and they didn't do anything about it. And it took this long. That it took this long for them to do nothing.
Chief German added that the police department will, quote, continue to work with citizens, agencies, and community groups to make Cedar Rapids a better place to live and work. To read the full report for yourself, visit our website, cbs2iowa.com. Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabe Erickson, CBS 2 News.
Tonight, Fox 28's Gabe Erickson talks with the family about why they are questioning the report about Saldivar's arrest and death. Gabe?
Yeah, they say they feel shocked but not surprised at the outcome of that investigation. After months of waiting for answers, the results of that report are not what they had hoped for.
Like I said,
Paul Saldivar's family stands together.
just don't make no sense.
After the report sent out Wednesday by Lynn County Attorney Jerry Vandersanden called Paul's death an accident. 7 months later, Paul's brother John wants Cedar Rapids police held accountable.
For the police chief to say, oh, I'm going to clean things up, ain't cleaning nothing up.
Police arrested Saldivar back in May for public intoxication. The report states that Saldivar left Hazard County Saloon, followed shortly after by an officer. He was walking toward the back parking lot, and when she tried to talk to him, he started running. He ran south for about a block and a half total before eventually being arrested in this alley between 2nd and 3rd Street. Police say Saldivar thrashed around in the back seat and hit his head on an armrest. The Saldivars have never believed that story. They read the attorney's report and say if it is indeed accurate, Paul's death was not an accident.
They should, live to a higher standard and take responsibility criminally for somebody dying in their care.
The county attorney's report did state Saldivar was drunk with a .299 blood alcohol content level, nearly 4 times the legal limit. It also adds the primary cause of death was positional asphyxia. That's when a person's posture doesn't allow for proper breathing.
They said he was that messed up. That should have been their priority, to either get medical attention or to make sure he's okay.
Paul's wife Rachel says it's not like him. They've been married nearly 4 years and were raising 4 children together.
No one there if they get into trouble to help. I was always able to call Paul.
John says his family will continue to fight for justice.
It'll all come out. The officers involved will have to answer to what has taken place.
Now today I spoke with the police department. They say they still are not in a position to speak openly about the incident. Although the criminal investigation is complete, they still have an internal investigation ahead of them. Covering the corridor in Cedar Rapids, Gabe Erickson, Fox 28 News at 9.